All right, let's talk about something huge. Every single organization has to deal with it. Big, high-stakes change. And so often, it just goes off the rails. Today, we're going to get into a really powerful framework designed to stop that from happening. We're doing a deep dive into the LaMarche Managed Change methodology.
Okay, so let's just kick things off with a number that should honestly stop you in your tracks. Historically, over 70%, 70, of major change projects fail. And we're not just talking about missing a deadline. We're talking about projects that flat out failed to deliver, and sometimes they even make things worse. That's just a mind-blowing amount of wasted money, time, and, employee morale. So, you gotta ask, right? Why? Why is that number so high? Is it just that change is hard and we're all doomed to fail? Well, no, not really. The research is pretty clear. This isn't random. It's a massive business problem, and it points to the fact that we need a way more structured solution. And here's the thing. When you look at why they fail, it's not a mystery. It's the same stuff over and over again. Leadership that says they're on board, but, they're not really on board. Not giving the project the resources it actually needs, having a vague idea of what success even looks like, or, and this is a big one, completely underestimating how the company's culture is going to react. These are all predictable, and that means they're preventable. And this is where the LaMarche methodology really steps in. Now pay close attention to this definition. It's not about soft skills or just being a good communicator. It frames this whole thing as a risk management discipline. The goal, from start to finish, is to find and systematically shut down the risks that people won't buy into the change. So how does it pull that off? Well, the entire methodology is really built on this one simple, but honestly pretty profound concept about what makes a project actually successful. It all comes down to two key things. And here it is. This is the secret sauce. R equals 2S times AS. The results you get are a product of the quality of your solution multiplied by the acceptance of that solution. So QS, that's your shiny new software, your perfectly designed new process. It's the technical side. But AS, that's whether your people actually accept it, adopt it, and use it. And this is the part that should give you chills. It's just simple math. If you build the most perfect, elegant, 10 out of 10 solution, but nobody accepts it, if your A is 0, what are your results? 0. A big, fat nothing. This formula makes the people side of change an absolutely non-negotiable part of the equation.
So how do you actually use this idea? Well, it's all driven by this 5-phase model. Now, it looks like a straight line here, but it's really designed to be a cycle. You're always learning and feeding information back into the earlier phases. You start by really nailing down what the change is. Then you prepare the organization. You plan the nitty-gritty details. You implement it. And then, and this is so crucial, you make sure that new level of performance actually sticks around.
And this isn't just theory, okay? It's supported by this whole toolkit of data-driven instruments for every single phase. I mean, you've got a culture profile to see where you're starting from, a formal risk log to track every potential threat, and even a transition dip plan to get ahead of that productivity slump that always happens during a big shift.
Let's just zoom in on one of those tools because it's so powerful, the history assessment. This thing basically reframes how we think about resistance. It recognizes that companies have a memory. If people got burned by the last 3 big projects, of course they're going to be skeptical this time around. This tool helps you read the scars of the past, acknowledge them, and build trust. Suddenly, resistance isn't some character flaw. It's a totally logical reaction.
And here's another great one, the multiple changes heat map. Seriously, think of this like a weather map for your entire organization. It shows you visually which departments are getting slammed with 5 different initiatives all at once. It helps leaders see where burnout, what we call change fatigue, is about to happen so they can actually manage the company's total capacity for change. It's super strategic. Okay, so I know what you're probably thinking right about now. This sounds pretty solid, but come on. The world is full of change management models. I've heard of Cotter, I've heard of AIDCAR. So what makes LaMarche any different? And that's a fair question. The biggest difference really is about focus and scale. A model like ProSize AIDCAR is fantastic. It's brilliant, actually, at mapping out one person's psychological journey through a change. But LaMarche, it operates at the organizational level. It's the how-to manual, the process playbook for the leaders and practitioners trying to manage risk across the entire system. This table really breaks it down. See, Cotter gives you those high-level, 8 steps for leaders to create urgency. 80-CAR gives you a way to check in on an individual and see where they're stuck. LaMarche is the practical, data-driven framework that lets you do the stuff Cotter's talking about and fix the problems 80-CAR uncovers. They actually work really well together, just at different altitudes.
And honestly, one of its greatest strengths is that it's designed with what they call an open architecture. It's not trying to kick Agile or Lean Six Sigma to the curb, it's designed to partner with them. It adds that missing people layer that makes sure all the amazing technical work from those other systems actually gets used and delivers the value it's supposed to.
So theory is great, but what about the real world when things get messy? Let's look at a super high-stakes example, a major merger and acquisition in the pharmaceutical industry. This is an environment where every minute costs a fortune and everyone is skeptical. So at the start of the project, the team treated change management like this soft, non-essential add-on. You know, the fluffy stuff. But by using the LaMarche approach, the consultant was able to reframe the work as a risk reduction strategy. They started speaking the language of business, pointing to specific, quantifiable risks. And it worked so well that they went from being this optional thing to being on the project's critical path, directly speeding up the business results.
So if we boil it all down, what are the biggest strengths here? Well, it's data-driven, so leaders get it. It turns those fuzzy people issues into hard, quantifiable risk. It can scale up or down, it plays nice with other frameworks, and it's not afraid to get its hands dirty with the really tough stuff, like company culture and history. But hey, let's be real, it's not a silver bullet. This is a resource-intensive approach. It takes real people and real time. It's not some automated software you just turn on. It takes a lot of manual tracking and relies on the skill of certified practitioners. It's a system that fundamentally values human expertise over a quick automated fix.
And all of this really leads to one final big question you should be asking yourself. When you look at an approach this proactive, this focused on risk, you have to wonder, is our organization just built to survive the next wave of change, or is it actually designed to lead it? That's the difference a truly structured methodology can make.